Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. You ever try moving and how difficult it is when you try to move? You know, you got to pack. You got to get everything in order. You got to get movers. Or you got to get your friends. You never try to do it by yourself because by yourself is really, really difficult. You probably could do it, but it would be really difficult doing it by yourself. But when you get other people to do it with you, it's still difficult, and there are going to be stretches where, you know, this couch is heavy, and you might drop the couch, but that's fine. Pick it up. Let's keep moving, because we're going to do this. We're going to get this done, and we're going to get this done today, right? That's what the Milwaukee Bucks personified yesterday. That we're not gonna stop. We're gonna get this done. This couch is heavy. That's fine. Pick it up. Even if you dropped it, that's fine. Pick it back up. I'm still with you. This refrigerator, it's heavy. That's fine. Pick it back up. I'm with you. Even if you gotta take a second. Even if it falls over, that's fine. I'm with you. And what I saw yesterday, I saw a determined Milwaukee unit. I saw a motivated Milwaukee unit. I saw a team that made it crystal clear that we're not going to stop playing. We are going to get this done. I saw a Boston unit that came out early and they didn't really look as sharp as they could have looked. You guys know how I feel about Jason Tatum. I am not a Jason Tatum fan. I'm one of the biggest Jason Tatum supporters there are. I personally think that we're going to have a conversation in the next 2 years about him being the best player in the game. In the next 2 years tops, I am 100% confident that we're going to have a serious conversation about this guy being the best player in the game. But the problem is that he's still in the process of figuring it out. And he still doesn't understand how to get going. And not just how to get going, how to pick spots offensively and how to get himself going defensively. He's still not clear about that. And that comes with being young, absolutely. But he's still not clear about that. I mean, he starts the game where he's shooting his first 10 of his first 14 shots in the first half are long balls. And he goes 2 for 10 on the long ball. He falls in love with that shot. Even when it's not going in, he falls in love with that shot. And to get the in-between stuff going and then move to the long ball would be a better idea. But I'm just going to keep shooting the long ball. That's a pattern of stubbornness, and that's just not maturing yet. That's just being young. That's all that is. Jaylen Brown got going yesterday later on because he fell into the same category. And he fell into the same trap. I mean, 4 of his first 5 shots was long balls. He went 1 for 4 to start the game. These guys fall in love with the long ball offensively and not realizing that my in-between game is what's gonna open up my game even more. Because as a scorer, once you see the ball go in the basket once, then that kind of gets a guy going. Just off the strength of that. Now, you have guys who see the ball go in other ways. I can generate offense where I get a steal, I get a block, and I get something going in transition. But I can't just fall in love with the long ball like they did. And I think that was the problem with these guys early. But then Jaylen Brown started to figure it out in the second quarter, where he was looking more in the in-between game. In the third quarter, in the more in-between game. Same thing with Jason Tatum. Because Jason Tatum's game is either at the long ball line or it's going to the basket. There's nothing in between. And I think he gets himself in a lot of trouble when he does that. And it makes him inefficient offensively. It makes him very inefficient offensively. And it takes away from how good he is defensively. Because he doesn't see shots go in and his defense kind of suffers because I see his body language. Where now he's not giving me the same effort that he would normally give me if he was knocking down shots. my offense shouldn't predicate my defense. My offense shouldn't dictate my defense. In fact, it should be the other way around. And in my offense, where I'm in the mid-range, then I push my game out. I mean, that's like anything. When you're a kid, where do you start? Shooting the basketball. You learn layups. And then when you learn layups, all right, I'm going to get a little bit further away from the basket. And then I'll get my jump shot going. And then I'll get a little further away from the basket. And that's where Jason Tatum gets himself in a lot of trouble, where he just starts shooting the long ball. And if the long ball's going, then I'm going. Well, no, absolutely not. He's not getting on the backboard like he could more. Same thing with Jaylen Brown. I mean, they got dominated on the backboard. This game, the story of this game was the fourth quarter alone. Them getting dominated on the backboard. 14-6, 7-1 on the offensive glass. That's a potential 21 extra points for them when you're doing that. When you're giving a team that many more opportunities to score, it's not going to be good for you at all. Not going to be good for you at all. Giannis got going in the third quarter and in the fourth. Giannis is the guy who, we're winning it or we're losing it with you. I would like to see those other guys get involved more. I mean, Bobby Portis didn't have a good shooting night. Connaughton didn't have a good shooting night. Wesley Matthews didn't have a good shooting night. Drew Holiday in the last two games, he's 14 for 46. But Holiday has that kind of game where he'll miss 6 or 7 shots, and then boom, he'll hit a really big one. That's who he is. That's absolutely who he is. But when you get to this stage in the playoffs, not just in the playoffs, when you get to this stage in the season, my best player has to do it. And that's who Giannis is. And it's obvious that he's a lot of times he looks gassed. But he's got enough where I'm going down fighting, which goes back to what I said originally about we're going to keep playing until the final buzzer. They outscored Boston 20-10 from Boston had a 14-point lead with 10 minutes to go. They outscored Boston 20-10 in 7 minutes to get right back in the game. And how did they chip away? They chipped away playing defense, rebounding the basketball. Boston really missed Robbie Williams. I can't say enough about him. When you have an elite rim protector, when you have an elite rebounder that's out of the lineup, you're going to suffer, because now that means that I got to do more of that. Now, there might be a lot of guys who say, well, that's not really my job. Well, rebounding and playing defense is absolutely your job. No doubt about it. But now I got to do more of it because the guy whose job that was primarily, he's gone. And now what that also does with him out of the lineup, that makes things even better for guys like Bobby Portis, who cleaned glass yesterday. I mean, he had 15 rebounds. And none bigger than the one in the fourth quarter where Giannis missed a free throw. That's just a lapse right there where guys not blocking out. You learn that as grade school kids, to block out at the free throw line. Block out and secure the basketball. Giannis cleaned glass yesterday, right? All of those guys, that was a collective effort that I've seen. That was one of the better collective efforts that I've seen from a championship unit in a long time, man. I promise you that, in a long, long time. When I talk about guys like Drew Holiday, like Pat Connaughton, like Grayson Allen, how great of a job they did in the fourth quarter defensively in chasing Boston off the long ball line, because we all know that that's what they want to do. They want to shoot the long ball. These how many long balls Boston shot in the fourth quarter. And that was largely due to Milwaukee's defense. Now, what I would really like to see, and I'm still a little clouded about this, I know that there are going to be stretches where, guys are not going to play in a playoff game. But I still don't understand why coaches don't dig deeper into their bench. The Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, Greg Popovich, and Steve Kerr, who basically graduated from the school of Greg Popovich. They know that in order for me to win, in order for us to win, 7, 8 guys, it's not enough. That's not enough. I got to dig deeper into my bench. And why Wara? Why these guys aren't, why Serge isn't more involved in the rotation? We don't need 20 minutes from Serge. We don't need 20 minutes from Wara. We don't need that many minutes from these guys. But I don't think 7 guys is 7, 8 guys. That's not enough. We got to dig. I think Coach Bud has to dig more into that rotation. Absolutely, he does. But that was a gallant effort from that crew. I think this series is over. I think that they got the win that they needed. I'd be really surprised if this series came back to Boston. I had picked Milwaukee in 6 before the series started. I was really apprehensive considering how much they missed Middleton. I can't tell you how much they missed Middleton, man. I'm screaming it from the mountaintop, and how much more he would open up their offense, the playmaker that he is. Because when they get Giannis the ball on the left wing and they just clear out, well, they make Giannis the primary playmaker and ball handler. Well, that leaves Giannis to get doubled and tripled. And now the shot maker that he has in Middleton, he would make life a lot less difficult for Giannis if he was on the floor. But because he's not, now these guys have to do a little bit more than what they're doing. And the way they're making up for that offensively is by playing defense. That's what they're doing more than anything. I would like to see Coach Bud get some more action offensively off the basketball instead of just giving the ball to Giannis and everybody get out the way, because that's not difficult to guard. Now, don't get me wrong. Giannis did go for 40 last night. And we're talking about a guy who basically imposed his will. But when you're moving on and you're dealing with teams that are going to load up even more, they're going to expose that. So I'd really like to see them get more action off the basketball. Now, I know that we're at a point where, this is basically who we are. Right? This is essentially who we are as a team. Right? I can absolutely get with that. No doubt. But if we can get some more action off the basketball and get the defense off balance just a little bit, I think that would help Milwaukee out tremendously. Tremendously. I don't put this, when I think about this series, everybody's beat up in the playoffs. Everybody. And with everybody being beat up in the playoffs, that can't be the logic. Well, this guy was hurt, that guy was hurt. Well, that's part of the game. That's absolutely part of the game. Because you're going to get the same effort from these guys that are on the floor. You're absolutely going to get the same effort. And since we're on the subject of effort, that effort yesterday in Golden State, in Memphis last night, the outcome was evidence of the effort. That's what it was in a nutshell. Golden State got dominated on the backboard. They got dominated in transition. And how did they get dominated in transition? By Memphis causing turnovers. Turnovers speed the game up. And when turnovers speed the game up, we get a lot of good things in transition. Because now what we're doing is we're keeping the defense off balance. Now they got to get back. And now they have to scramble. That's why teams like to cut down turnovers. 22 turnovers for Golden State yesterday. I thought Memphis did a great job defensively on Steph and Clay. Well, if you look at the box score, you'll say, well, Steph and Clay took 22 shots between the both of them. And they went 6 for 10 and 5 for 10. But I'm looking at it from the aspect of they did a great job in keeping the basketball away from Steph. A great job in keeping the ball away from him. A great job in keeping the ball away from Klay Thompson. And chasing those guys off the long ball line and making it difficult on them. Making those guys make tough shots. Watching Steven Adams tell Draymond, you can shoot that mid-range all night. And Draymond wouldn't even look at the basket, which is surprising to me because, he could make that shot. That's not a shot that he can't make. But for him to not look at it was pretty surprising to me. Was really surprising to me. And I thought that he could have helped them out even more. But they got destroyed on the backboard. They got out-rebounded by almost 20. 18-4 on the offensive glass. like I said, when you're getting out rebounded like that and that many extras, that many second chance opportunities, you're putting yourself in a big bind, in a huge bind, right? You're putting yourself in a huge bind. I thought that Memphis's bench, just their bench, Tillman, Williams, Anderson, Kunchar, and Clark. I thought that they did a great job coming off the bench. I got 51 points from them. I got a lot of, because your bench guys are your energy guys. 51 points from those guys. I got 61 points from the Golden State starters. If I can get 51 from those guys off my bench, we're in really good shape. Really good shape. They play a lot faster. They play a lot freer without Ja. I mean, Jaren Jackson, he plays on the perimeter a lot. I'd like to see him get in the mid-range and get some more stuff going to the basket. And he's going to learn that as he matures. He's still young, but they play a lot faster and they play freer. A lot of action. The ball moves a little bit more because Ja's their one-on-one guy. So when Ja gets the ball, of course, guys get out of the way and just let him rock. Well, when he's not out here, Dylan Brooks is moving the basketball. Desmond Bane is moving the basketball. The basketball is moving and guys are moving. And you guys know how I feel about that. If the ball's moving, if people are moving, that means the ball's moving. If the ball's moving, that means people are moving. And if people are moving, that means that the defense is off balance. And that's a good recipe for you offensively. So I still expect Golden State to end this thing. I thought it would be over in 5, but I still expect them to end this thing in 6. I'd be really surprised if they came back to Memphis for Game 7. I think this series is over. But I'll tell you what's not over. Us, we still doing it. And I'm going to be around for as long as you guys want me. So we're going to keep this thing going. It's playoff basketball. This is absolutely fantastic. So until then, guys, take it light, but take it.